Caitlin Clark has been on an insane tear lately. That's not even fair. She's having an insane season that has had moments that aren't great, which happens to every player when you're talking about the length of a season. Paige Beckers has had some absolutely abysmal games. So has Olivia Miles, but they don't want to talk about that. Hell, Paige just had 3 assists and 7 turnovers last night. Now, luckily for the Dallas Wings, there's a huge split between the top 8 teams and the bottom 7. So the Wings look pretty safe for the playoffs down in that number 8 spot. It's basically the top 8 that we have right now. Pretty sure they're going to make it unless the Dallas Wings just has a even more of an epic collapse. But the campaign to discredit Caitlin Clark for MVP is underway. It is in full effect right now, and that includes Jason Whitlock, who has lost his mind over Caitlin Clark. He doesn't know which way is up. One moment he's going insane, lying and complaining about the Caitlin Clark cult and constantly insulting her fans and then praising her the next moment. He decided he was going to go after Venom. It's been nuts. And now he's going to say, well, Caitlin Clark isn't the MVP. I've never thought she was even a candidate for it. We're going to get into that in a moment. And then he gets an absolute buffoon, as much as he seems to be one right now, to talk about one of the most ridiculous advanced analytics stats that is even out there without even understanding what that stat entails, which we'll get to in a moment. But just to give you an idea, Caitlin Clark in the last 5 games alone, 24.6 points per game, 9.6 assists per game, and 3.4 rebounds per game. Yes, if you round up, right, 24.6, go to 25, assists 9.6, we go to 10. Yeah, she's just about right there, averaging for the last 5 games the 25-10 number, of which she's done 7 times this year, which of course doesn't include her 26.9 assist performance last game, which we know if her teammates could make layups. She's done that 7 times this year. Sabrina Ionescu is number 2 on the all-time list with 6 for her career. Caitlin Clark is basically averaging that over the past 5 games. But let's take a little listen to what this man is saying to say, hey, Caitlin Clark isn't the MVP because of this. Here we go.
Just don't think her performance on the court justifies this MVP narrative. Scap, your thoughts. I know you're heavy into analytics.
Scat, I brought you on, man, because I want you to back up my absolute bullshit when I say Caitlin Clark ain't in the MVP race. Yeah, the woman who is third in the WNBA in scoring, first in the WNBA in assists, second in the WNBA in usage, does everything all the one-trick ponies do, but she does it all herself. Alyssa Thomas does not score, but she gets those fake handoff assists. Asia Wilson scores, but she does not facilitate an offense. Caitlin Clark has the entire Fever offense on her shoulders, and the idea that she can't play defense is an absolute lie. Anyone watching basketball knows that that simply is not true. And Fever since July 17th, offensive efficiency first, points per game first, field goal percentage first, 3-point field goal percentage first. Who exactly do you think facilitates that? Jason Whitlock. If Caitlin Clark is not in the MVP race, then no one is in the MVP race. But we're going to let the clown now talk about why he thinks that, using one of the most ridiculous, overrated, advanced analytics stats out there.
Yeah, Jason, just to echo that point, I am big into analytics in the NBA. All of the analytics do not exist in the WNBA that do in the NBA, but two very important ones, which are very heavily weighted by MVP voters: player efficiency rating, and as you highlighted, win shares. And I really look at win shares per 48 in the NBA. It's win shares per 40 in the WNBA because they play 40 minutes. And because win shares is an accumulated stat, which so games played goes into it. Win share per 48 essentially, or in the WNBA's case per 40, really dials into your per game value and what you kind of attribute to winning games per game. And look, Caitlin Clark is 23rd in the WNBA in win shares per 40 right now, and she is third on her own team. So it's not just Mitchell, it's Boston that is above actually her as well and more valuable in terms of actually acquiring these wins.
Oh man. Okay, ready? We're gonna dig into this stuff now. So, 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 Jason, I I follow the NBA, and I don't really know anything about the WNBA, which is why I'm gonna say NBA is per 48 minutes and the WNBA is per 40, and I'm gonna say that a couple times so you understand my expertise is that I know there's a difference in minutes played, and then I'm gonna pick a statistic and then kind of lie about it because I don't really understand it, but it's a statistic that makes it seem like maybe Caitlin Clark shouldn't be in the conversation because she's down 23rd. Now, I know I mentioned player efficiency rating as well and how important that is, but Caitlin Clark's number 7 in that category, so that kind of makes her look pretty damn good. And then I'm going to talk about Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell having better numbers in terms of the offensive win, the win share, because that even makes it seem like Caitlin Clark, she ain't even the best player on her own team. Yeah. Oh, and thank you for having me on to lie about this. I appreciate the exposure that I get being on your show, which is why I'm going to back you when you say something so dumb as Caitlin Clark isn't an MVP candidate. Wow. Yeah, that got my allergies going. Oh, I don't know how he does that, man. So anyway, win share is a stupid, very short-sighted, advanced analytic. You all know I've talked many times about all the different numbers and everything, and each little thing can be maybe a snapshot. Some statistics are a lot more important than others, but none of them are the be all end all. You actually have to watch the games. And Caitlin Clark is the Indiana Fever offense. Period. She facilitates everything that team does. She elevates her teammates into making them better players. We see that with Aaliyah Boston. We see that with Kelsey Mitchell. We see that with the contract she got, Lexi Hull. It is absolutely ridiculous. You have to be an absolute illiterate buffoon who is so deranged and demented over hatred for Caitlin Clark and or her fans to start a narrative that Caitlin Clark is not an MVP candidate when you watch the games and then look at statistics that actually matter. Now, the win share thing actually gets really deep into the weeds and it gets a little bit complicated and you have to get into offensive production. But, things like, hey, I shoot 1 for 2 and you shoot 14 for 29. I kind of got a better win. I got a win share advantage over you, because my shooting percentage is a little higher. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that's actually ridiculous. Don't even get me started on the defensive aspect of it, which is absolutely absurd. But let's just talk about a couple of things like this. Kelsey Mitchell has been this is her 9th year in the WNBA. Her 3 best shooting percentage seasons are the 3 with Caitlin Clark. And you say, but 2025, Caitlin only played 13 games. Yes, the worst of those 3 is 2025 when Caitlin didn't play as much. Her 2-point shooting percentage, these 3 years Caitlin Clark's been here, the worst is 2025 when Caitlin only played 13 games. Her effective field goal percentage when Caitlin Clark is here, which includes her career high, the worst of the 3 is 2025 when Caitlin Clark only played 13 games. Her 3 best scoring in terms of points per game seasons are with Caitlin Clark. Slightly higher in 2025, even though she didn't shoot as well at 20.2, because obviously she was going to shoulder a little more of the burden, and she took more shots. 3-point shooting percentage, same thing. Career high this year. The worst of her 3 seasons with Caitlin Clark is 2025 when Caitlin Clark only played 13 games. Caitlin Clark is generating a record number of points per scoring and assists in WNBA history. She has, and I forget the number off the top of my head, I didn't double check, but for both Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, it's somewhere in the mid 40s in terms of the percentage of their field goals coming off assists from Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah Boston has never had it so easy than having Caitlin Clark on the team. He mentions Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell's win share being higher. Well, again, go through what I just mentioned with Kelsey Mitchell and her scoring. Yeah, because they're benefiting from Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark has made him better. You accidentally made the case for Caitlin Clark as the MVP because of how much she has elevated the teammates that she has on the Indiana Fever. That is the very definition of most valuable player. Deep breath. These freaking people, man. Win share is absolutely not one of the best all-in-one advanced analytics. It is actually has serious flaws, serious limitations, and it's really not even worth looking at in any way, shape, or form. So you had to work really hard to find some idiot to come on the show and talk about it. Again, did he mention he mentioned player efficiency rating, right? But he didn't actually want to talk about that one because Caitlin Clark is 7th in the league. And we are going to see more and more and more of this as the season goes on because they do not want Caitlin Clark to get MVP. By the way, neither does the Indiana Fever because that'll cost them a lot more money, and they've already completely and totally screwed up their future with the salary cap and the contracts they gave out, such as the disastrous contract of Mo Billings, the disastrous contract of Lexi Hull, and yeah, the disastrous contract to Aaliyah Boston. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. I will talk to you later.